Hello. Hey, hi. Oh man, oh man, oh. The communication process. Welcome to chapter 2. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. This will be nothing but fun. All right. The communication process. The first thing I'll tell you is that I'm going to use a communication process that is like the simplest of all of them. All right. The communication process that we'll delve into is called the communication dyad. Dyad. Let's write that down. Dyad. It's a big kind of a way of saying communication between two people. So if you're in my interpersonal communication class, this is super important. The communication between two people. Remember, at the end of the class, we're going to study how to be better best friends. True story. If you're in my speech class, we're also studying the communication process. The dyad is going to be important, but you guys are more broadbanding. You're one person sending out your speech to many people, and we'll talk about that when the time comes. But right now, the communication process. The communication process. The first three components of the communication process are super simple. But before we get started, before I drop in the first three components, I want to tell you what to watch for very, very carefully as this lecture series moves on. Chapter 2. Here's what you need to watch for. You need to watch for terms, and then you need to be able to define those terms. And so much more importantly, my big goal is to show you how communication crashes and burns. It's a true story. My goal is to show you how the communication process breaks down. Because I'm sorry, because in my opinion, if we know how it fails, then in our own friendships and our own relationships, in our conversations with people, we can fix those failures and we can make it work. Because poor communication happens all the time. If I had $1 for every time miscommunication caused problems, I'd be a bazillionaire. And unfortunately, if I had $1 for every time miscommunication caused negative impact in relationships, caused even destruction of relationships, man, I tell you what, I would be rich. I would be absolutely rich, okay? Because it does. Poor communication hurts relationships, okay? Relationships with your boss, relationships with a teacher, relationships with a friend, relationships with that soulmate, that life partner. All right, so let's study. Let me show you the way it crashes and burns so that we can fix it. There's my goal. All right. Knowing that, be very conscious, be very cognizant of the terms that will be written in red. Those terms are the problem terms. Those terms are the places where communication can fail. All right. All right, so let's go. The communication process. The very first part of the communication process is these three terms: sender, receiver, and the message. Notice that the message is right smack dab in the middle of this model. The message is right smack dab in the middle of this model. Well, there's a real good reason for that. Okay, the message can be defined as the idea or the concept that the sender wants the receiver to understand. Listen, the message is the thing, if you will. We don't need these collegiate textbook definitions. We just need to know. Listen, the message is the thing that the sender wants to get into the brain of the receiver. The message is the stuff the sender wants the receiver to know. And the goal, here's a test question. The goal of communication is for the sender to get that message into the receiver's brain exactly like they intend it to be understood. All right? The goal is for the receiver to understand the message exactly like the sender wants it understood. Got it? Good. So, some simple definitions. Message is the idea or the thing or the stuff that the sender wants the receiver to understand. There. Now let's take a definition for the term sender, please. This is the person that owns the message. It's their message. So really the sender implies two different ideas, two different terms now, or two different concepts here. The term sender means that this is the person that owns the message, but they also have to transport it or send it or ship it off to the receiver. So the sender's really, it's got two parts. They own the message and they transport it toward that receiver to plant it in the receiver's brain. Okay? All right, so then the receiver. The definition for receiver, again, let's not go college textbook here. Let's just get it into our brains so we understand it. All right? The definition of receiver is the target of the message or the recipient of the message. You know what? I've even given credit on the test for people that say the receiver is the getter of the message. Now, that student could have used better vocabulary, but they got it right. Listen, the receiver gets the message. They're the recipient, the target, just understand they're the getter of the message. All right? There. Now, listen, 3 incredibly simple terms. 2 people, 1 message. One of those people is called the sender. They own the message and they have to transport it to the receiver. The receiver is the getter of the message, the target, the recipient. All right? The message itself is the thing that the sender wants the receiver to understand exactly. Campers, if it was just that simple, if that's all there was, I have a message for you here. Oh, wow. Okay. Communication would never fail. Communication would never fail. Notice that those terms are written in black. Sender, message, receiver. All right? We're going to start to add some terms now that are going to really cause problems in communication. And some of these terms we don't even think about. Some of these terms we really don't even give consideration to. All right? All right. So keep watching and keep that smile. Okay? And there's plenty of terms to come. All right? Oh, I got to turn this off. Hold on. Okay?